Hey friend, it's me, Katie Ann, and your host to the Full Confidence Ahead podcast, where we go on a journey together tackling the fears of life, from family relationships to finance, from careers to community. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm still laughing from last episode with Dr. Othello Richards, and he taught us about Legos and his kids and how he keeps them all organized in that little tape square. So I'm still laughing and loving that. If you didn't hear it, make sure to go back and listen to his episode. It was fabulous. I also wanted to let you guys know I'm accepting referrals and suggestions of either topics or people you want to hear from on the podcast, and send those suggestions to fullconfidenceahead@gmail.com. I'm going to say that again, fullconfidenceahead@gmail.com. I want to hear from you guys because this podcast is about a journey that we are taking together. So please let me know topics or people that you want to hear on the podcast, because this is a joint journey together, you and me. So just give me an email. I'm excited to hear from you and contact you more. fullconfidenceahead@gmail.com. And I'm really excited for our guest today. So we're closing out Financial Literacy Month, and that was this month in April. So to finish out that month, we have Christy Tribe, who is the president and CEO of Junior Achievement, and she has been that since 2015. And before that, she was the Chief Development Officer at Junior Achievement, and Junior Achievement is helping students reach their full potential by teaching financial literacy, and they have a proactive approach to breaking the poverty cycle. They are just fascinating, and I am so grateful for them. I actually was in contact with Junior Achievement when I was in 5th grade, and I went and had participated in their Biz Town. So I am grateful because it made an impact on me since 5th grade. So please enjoy Christy Tribe. Christy, we are thrilled to have you here on the Full Confidence Ahead podcast, especially because of your depth of knowledge and just your experience and teaching the youth of the next generation. We are so grateful for you. And we kind of want to know, how did you get to be the CEO position of Junior Achievement? What was your journey there?
Well, thank you for having me, Katie. And I had an interesting journey to this particular job. I was a single mom and kind of working minimum wage, and worked myself up in the world of business, and then had a son that was in junior high school that was struggling. He had some disabilities, and he's really started struggling with the 8 different classes. Mm-hmm. And so I had just remarried, and I told my husband I need to quit my job, and he laughed. And I said, no, this is something I would do with or without you. I need a part-time job. And was lucky enough to answer an ad in the paper for Junior Achievement of Utah. And at the time, I actually thought I was applying for the Junior League, which is a women's organization. But they were nice enough to give me a job as a program manager part-time. And I just haven't looked back. It's just really filled a need in me of giving back to the community.
Wow. So this came out of a situation with you and your son seeing a need at first, to changing jobs, working your way up, and just sticking with it.
Yes.
Wow.
And I didn't even know how much of a need I had to be helping people. And so this was an opportunity that I think was supposed to be for me, definitely.
That is so just absolutely beautiful, your story of how you've gotten here. And how many years have you been with Junior Achievement?
I've been with Junior Achievement 20 years, so I've been here quite a while, and loved every minute of it. I've had almost every job at Junior Achievement except for technology and CFO, but I really love what I do.
That is incredible. Can you explain to our listeners what Junior Achievement is? You guys are an organization that I've loved and been involved with for a really long time, but I want our listeners to know, who are you and what do you do?
Well, thank you. I would love to tell you a little bit about Junior Achievement. And Katie Ann, I know that you came to our Capstone facility and volunteered just recently. Yes. And what I would say is that I heard you were the most amazing volunteer. So thank you for that.
So, I love that. I got to be in Biz Town, which for our listeners, it's the 5th graders going to have a job for the day. And I loved it because I remember doing it in 5th grade and it impacted me so much. And I picked out my clothes for that day and I was so excited. So I wanted the kids to have the same experience I did because it was fabulous and just changed my world. So thank you for letting me come. It was thrilling. Honestly, it was.
Well, and that is so great to hear that we have alumni of BizTown that can come back and volunteer. That's a full circle right there.
Oh, absolutely.
So Junior Achievement is actually part of a worldwide organization. I don't know that many people know that, but we are in over 100 different countries, and we have 103 satellite offices within the United States. So some JA areas have multiple sites or multiple locations, and Junior Achievement of Utah has always been over the whole state. And so we started as an after-school program, and we've been around over 100 years. And then we went to classrooms probably about 40 years ago. We started going into the classroom because as an after-school program, we realized that the students that we were reaching a lot of times came from good homes where their parents really were able to get them to the after-school program and really cared about their future. And I know, being a single mom and having a couple of jobs, for me, yes, I loved my kids, but I didn't really know what they were doing in school and wouldn't have had the opportunity to take them to an after-school program. And so Junior Achievement, the pillars we have are financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship.
Incredible.
And we reach on a normal year, not COVID year, we reach about 100,000 students in Utah, and we reach them in a couple of different ways. One is having volunteers go into the classroom and facilitate hands-on activities with students and really help them understand why they're learning what they're learning in school and how it applies to the world of work and their life after education. And our hope is with our volunteers, is we have a lot of business volunteers and a lot of parents who are also business workers who can introduce students to different careers that they have and talk about their world of work and really open the mindset and the possibilities for students that may not see all of the careers that they may see with their volunteers at Junior Achievement in their school experience. And so we believe kids learn by doing, and so we never talk at them. We always do an activity with them, and then we help them to understand a concept, and we talk about how the activity went. And the thing I love about Junior Achievement is failure's okay.
Will you say that again?
Is okay. Failure is okay. And you probably noticed that when you went to JA City. So we don't get a lot of options in school right now for failure to be okay. And I totally understand that. But we want kids to learn by doing, and we want them to learn how to fail and self-correct. And so a lot of our curriculum, they may have an idea that's good and about a business or whatever concept they're learning. And they may have an idea that's not so good, but talking about it and working through it and coming up with a different plan is really, really important. So probably about I think it's probably been about 18 years ago with the onset of our in-class programs and having them for several years, we thought Junior Achievement JAUSA was thinking, what kind of richer, deeper experiences could we have with kids that would really make a difference in their lives at critical times? And so that's how that BizTown program for 5th graders, and we have a program called Finance Park for 8th graders, came to be. Is they bought the rights of some programs that some educators had great success with in Florida, and the 5th grade program, like you said, the kids actually work with their teachers for 4 weeks, and then they have a job and they come and they work as a team, and a successful day is paying back a business loan. And they also get to shop too, and they get to learn about all different careers. And the reason that they picked 5th grade is because that's the time that transition from grade school to middle school is a lot where we lose a lot of kids as far as them taking classes that will be in a field that they want to go into. So we want to get them excited about careers so that they'll continue their education and take different classes than they might have if they were just not have taken if they were just trying to get through school.
I love that. And I think you're so successful with that in the program. And I want to jump back to what you said about failure is okay. I just love this idea of that failure is okay, both for teaching our kids that of like how to work through failure and also adopting that as an adult. But when I came in to volunteer at J City and at BizTown, the volunteer meeting, the first thing they said was, it's okay to let the kids fail. And in my heart, I was like, wait, what? Like, it's okay. What if we don't pay back our business loan and everything? And I just had to take that in and say, okay, we're going to let them do it. And they really coached us through letting the kids learn and not being like a helicopter volunteer, but allowing them to go through the process. And you know what? We did fail at one point, and it was really interesting to see that the kids that were in my my little business, what they did. So we had gotten scammed. One of the other companies had sent us a utility bill for like $100,000, and our CFO of our BizTown paid it without looking at it. She learned a big lesson to look before you hit automatic pay the bill. And I could have gone into the system, I could have worked it out, but I just talked to her and said, okay, what are we going to do now? And how are we going to work through this failure? And them problem solving as a team was actually really incredible to see what they came up with. They went and talked to the business saying, hey, you paid us the wrong amount. What are we going to do about this? And I think that what they came out of that was so much more powerful than just a perfect experience. I think a lot of times the feeling of fear comes from a lack of control in our lives. And our sponsor, PowerPay, is offering a Money Master course that's normally $40 for free to all Full Confidence Ahead podcast listeners, so you can take control of your finances this year. The course is video-based and gives you real-life money smarts. So to claim your course, go to extensioncourses.usu.edu/KatieAnnPowell, which is KatieAnnPowell, and it'll automatically add the Money Master course to your cart, and you just click checkout and you'll get it for free. You can also access your course by going to extensioncourses.usu.edu and finding the Money Master course under the finance category, then using the code KatieAnn, KatieAnn with no spaces, to claim your $40 discount and free course at checkout. So let's master our money together.
Absolutely. And Katie Ann, I think, if you think about times in your life that you've learned the most, I know for me, times in my life that I've learned the most are with failures and self-correcting and getting on a different path. And it's hard for us to give that kind of opportunity to students in school, but especially if you can work with a team and, like you said, make those decisions together. And you have to be amiable to your team members, and you learn soft skills, and you learn cooperation. And a lot of times it's so fun to see in JA City kids changing their price points because they realize they're not going to be able to pay back that loan. And so it's a great experience, but I think the reason it's so powerful is it seems so real to the kids. And I think our kids are so much smarter than we give them credit for. And so giving them an opportunity to really, work as a team and make a business successful, even if it's just for a day, is a real powerful experience for them.
Yeah, I agree. That teamwork, that camaraderie that they learn together. Also, I think there's this importance now that you've talked, I'm realizing that actually giving kids the opportunity to fail and then to learn and to self-correct is actually so valuable in our education system. And the fact that you created this program where they can both fail, learn, then succeed is actually this ability that the kids can walk away with. Also real life skills, because every day isn't absolutely fabulous. We don't always hit our business marks every day when we're working as adults, and to learn that at a young age, that failure is okay as long as you keep working through it. That failure isn't final. It's only final if you quit. That teamwork that comes after it is absolutely incredible.
I agree.
It was really fun too. I want to talk about the junior achievement, the mission to break this poverty, to break the poverty cycle, because I think one thing that I walked away from BizTown and loved is it was a lower socioeconomic school that we had coming in, and one of the girls, she was our CFO, and probably had never considered a job up to that point outside of a minimum wage experience. But I was in the bank and she came up to me afterwards. She said, I can be a CFO. I want to be a CFO. And that confidence coming from within floored me. And I just wanted to scream for joy, because it wasn't just someone saying, hey, you can accomplish great things. You can do this. You can push for your education. You can come out better on the other side. But it came from within her because she had gone through the experience. And she was also the girl who had done our failure, had done the automatic pay. And she learned from that and still came out the other side saying, I can do this. And I thought that was just incredible.
Well, I love that you say that, because I think, and as far as breaking the cycle of poverty, as I started with Junior Achievement, I knew that it was a great organization, but I really learned to appreciate the beauty of Junior Achievement and what we do. And what I will say is we couldn't do it without our volunteers. We place about 9,000 volunteers a year, either in classrooms or at our capstone facility. And in those schools that we don't have great PTA support, that are more at risk, those are the schools that we bring business volunteers into. And I know as a mom, like I said, as a single mom working, I wasn't in a job early on when my kids always joke and say, that I was a helicopter mom before going to work. And my daughter was 8 and my son was 3 when I had to start working. And I think I knew everything about my daughter and everything she did in school and was there all the time. And then I went from doing that to not being able to participate in the classroom in the way I'd like to. And I just so appreciate the people who mentored my children, because I couldn't have done it without them. It really does take a village to raise a child. And I remember that as I was watching, as I came into Junior Achievement, I thought about what is true philanthropy? And to me, true philanthropy is not giving someone food or giving them money or giving them a gift. And that's great. I mean, it is true philanthropy, but the receiver always, I know that when I received that kind of philanthropy, I felt good about the person who gave it to me and bad about myself. And so to me, the true philanthropy is helping people help themselves. And so I think what better way to do that than to start with kids? And our volunteers really are our secret sauce. Adults caring about kids and having that contact. Kids can tell when adults care about them. And I know that in your experience at JA City, you changed the life of those students. And I can't tell you how many times I've had an adult come up to me and say, oh, you work at Junior Achievement? I remember my first grade volunteer, or I remember this, or I remember the example. And I think the thing about the world is an equalizer of talent. We have an abundance of talents in the world, but it's not an equalizer of opportunity. And Junior Achievement helps us to equalize that playing field for all of our students, especially our at-risk students, and show them a different way and open up opportunities that they may never think of, like you said, being a CFO. And so I think that the concept that we use is pretty simple. I think even our capstone facility is simple. The beauty is having those adults caring about kids and being mentors to them, because we're not a society of mentors the way we were probably 50, 60 years ago, where you go with your parent to work, or and so we have to create those experiences for our kids.
My favorite thing each week is just to listen to the stories of these incredible people on the podcast. They give me confidence in all areas of my life. The Full Confidence Ahead sponsor, Utah Money Moms, has boosted my financial confidence. I remember the first time I heard about them on YouTube, I just found this video about tracking your expenses they had done, and it was so simple and confidence building that I went to their website and started downloading as much material as I could. Make sure you head over to utahmoneymoms.com after this episode to sign up for their free webinars on all financial topics from the basics of budgeting to estate planning. That's amazing. And especially your transparency that you just said there, that the world's an equalizer of talent, but not opportunity. And I love how you said that in the reality, that's the reality we're living in. We do have a reality that it is not equal opportunity right now. So what can we do for that? And what I see you guys doing, and I see it being a very powerful proponent for helping people gain opportunities that otherwise wouldn't, is education. Because I believe education helps promote people to other opportunities and gives them the opportunity that otherwise they wouldn't. And especially with this financial education that you're teaching, because if kids can't learn how to do finances, then the next step and the next opportunities in life will be very difficult to obtain. So I see this need for financial education and just education in general. And do you think that education is really what breaks that poverty cycle?
Well, I do. I do think that education breaks that poverty cycle. And I think that being exposed to different opportunities breaks that poverty cycle. And I think that having somebody care about you and telling you you can do it is really powerful. I know I came from a single parent home and we were not wealthy, but my mom believed that I could do anything I wanted to do. And so I believe that. And I didn't see myself as poor. And so I think it really does make a difference if we have people believing in us, and it can go a really, really long way. And expanding our thoughts about what we can be and visions really helps kids to not only to stay in school and to go on to higher education or whatever technical field or whether it's construction, whatever they want to do, just getting further training. And I think too often our kids think about, when I get out of high school, then I just go get a job and whatever it is. And they really don't know what that looks like. And if they have a passion and they go for their passion, they say, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I think it's really, really true. But also, there are a lot of people who have good jobs, and we see this a lot, who aren't necessarily great with their finances. And so really reinforcing that of, we want you to have a job that you like. We want you to be responsible so you can take care of yourself, your family, and your community is really important. It's like, to me, it's like throwing a pebble into water. It has a ripple effect that they'll help somebody who will help somebody. And one of the most impressive statistics Junior Achievement has come up with in the last few years with our last alumni study, this will be interesting to you as an alumni, is that 51% of our JA alumni reported going into the same field as one of their JA volunteers.
Wow.
And I think when you think about at-risk kids and the possibilities open to them, that's huge. And I think it's just having somebody caring about you and saying you can do it. And so we know we're really, like I said, a long-term plan to breaking the cycle of poverty, but we want to be there every year for kids with great mentors so that they really do have opportunities to continue through school and go on to training and be anything they want to be.
I love that. I also saw that a little bit with the business next to me. I had a volunteer in there, the kids, and they were struggling. And I love to peek in just to see what was happening there and to watch her encourage the kids, saying, okay, this is difficult, you can do this, and then let them problem solve. But that reinforcement of belief in the kids, I saw them rush into their business, have this kind of frantic panic moment, and come out confident and with a plan. And it was beautiful. And at the end of the day, also, that they were lit up with joy and that internal belief because someone else had believed in them. And I think you are hitting on some incredible points that we are in need of mentors that believe and that can go in and tell our students, you can do this, like you are capable. And I think one of my favorite things with Jay's BizTown is the way that you set it up, that a lot of times it's business volunteers that are in there, or it's people with a profession that are in the real world volunteering their time, and the students like to ask them questions and they get to see, and then they're in this simulation as what their life is as an adult. And so it's fun to see that conversation go back and forth where the student suddenly understands what the adult is doing and they have this connection moment. They're kind of on the same playing field.
Yes, exactly. And it's just a joy to witness every day. With so many things going on in the world where there's sadness and division, it is so great to be a part of watching just so many caring adults at their best, doing their best with kids. I can't imagine doing any other job because it really feeds my soul, like I said before, because I get to see the best people at their best giving back.
I love that. I just love how this has been also a fulfilling moment for you and also a successful program for the students. It's incredible, that package right there. And I want to know from you, because we talked about how it's both important to have the kids have this exploration and belief in themselves, but also having these financial skills. So what is one thing that if you could only teach them one thing, these kids, what financial skill would you give them?
Well, it's funny because I went to a JA job shadow once, where we were at a financial institution and they were talking to kids and they were saying, and quite, transparently, at that particular time, I had a bit of debt. As being a single mom, that can happen. And I was just newly out of being a single mom. And so I just was not really putting into my 401k the way I should, or thinking about setting up for my future. And I remember one of the volunteers said, "Those who understand interest receive it, and those who don't pay it." And I think that that's really, really powerful. It's just like, it made me really stop and think, like, really, is paying interest a good idea?
Right.
You can buy things on credit, but is it really a good idea? And wouldn't you rather make interest instead of pay it? So it kind of changed the trajectory for me for my retirement. So that was pretty powerful. And I think kids that understand that, a lot of times in college, we really target kids for credit cards, things like that. And they're not really understanding, some of them are, but most of them probably aren't understanding what they're really paying for an item when they buy it on credit.
Right. That to me is incredible. This idea of time, power of money. And it's so true. It can either work for you or it can work against you. And if you don't know how it works, it'll work against you. So that's very powerful. I've had, quite a few friends who didn't know how credit worked and slipped into large consumer debt. And that's scary when especially they're taking on student debt at the same time, and falling into that trap. What is one thing, or what age would you really introduce the idea of finances to help them be successful in the future?
I'm so glad you asked that. And that's a really interesting question. And it's something that we don't focus on in schools as heavily as I would love to see in the future. But I think for us, we start at kindergarten. And junior achievement used to be, like I said, an after-school program, and it was for high school students. And what we realized over time is, if we wait till high school, we've gotten there too late. So we start as early as kindergarten with kids talking about, the coin recognition and
Mm-hmm.
just the power of saving. And in first grade, talking about a need as a versus a want, and why sometimes your mom can't buy you everything you want because
Right.
it's more important to buy you what you need. And so I think these principles, these kids are learning while they're having fun, but I think it's something that really has to be continual in their education, just like literacy,
Mm-hmm.
reading and math skills. I think financial literacy really needs to be something that is reinforced every year for kids.
I agree completely with that. I was surprised. I had the opportunity to go into preschool and do a little financial lesson, but what they were actually able to recognize about money was far greater than I would have assumed a preschooler could understand. We kind of went through some coin recognition and where does money come from, that it doesn't grow out of the ground. And we did it in silly games, but they were recognizing skills of money. By the end, they could walk out and say some things, some basic skills and things about money that I was surprised that at such a young age they understood. And the other thing I loved that you said that starting early, and this is something that just needs to be repetition. And I believe that, especially because the other day I just pulled out, I found in my documents, I had done a budget and when I was probably about 11, because my handwriting was chicken scratch. So it was probably when I was about 11 or somewhere between 8 and 11. I don't remember that at all because it wasn't until my second year of college that I even understood what a budget was. So clearly I had been learning about budgeting since I was little, but it didn't click until I was well into my 20s. So I can't even imagine not having even been exposed to it at all and trying to start in the 20s. So it's not just a one and done conversation, but a continual conversation that just needs to continually build. Because I think of me and that I have evidence now that I had financial conversations, but it clearly didn't stick until later on. And I wish I would have started earlier with those conversations.
Absolutely. And one of the things I would say about JA Worldwide, just that we got an email about a month ago letting us know that JA Worldwide has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. And at first I
Oh my
was
goodness.
wondering about the correlation, but as I
Uh-huh.
thought about it, I thought you can't have peace with poverty. You can't have peace when people don't
Mhm.
have enough to eat and they can't take care of their basic needs.
Mhm.
And you have to have an opportunity for everyone to be able to take care of themselves. And especially the mentorship aspect of junior achievement. We are
Mhm.
trying to lift people up into a better world. And so I think I just love being part of an organization that's recognized that way, that people can see the good work that we're doing and how important it is to set our kids up for success,
Mhm.
and the importance of having role models that they can, that they can look up to, and just the importance of giving them the tools that they can take care of themselves, and especially for our girls and women,
Mhm.
helping them to understand that their life situation could change
Mhm.
and that they need to be able to take care of themselves. And I know that's a
Yes.
big passion of mine. And so it's really, I love working in an organization that really cares about lifting up all, everyone. And I think it's so important to be able to have those skills of financial literacy and getting a job that we love and enjoy and being able to take care of our family.
Congratulations on that nominee for the Nobel Prize. That is huge. And you are a large part of that organization. It takes so many people to make it run internationally, nationally, and especially in our state. And you have been a very large proponent for a long time and volunteered much time and also worked much time. So congratulations and thank you for your contributions. It is truly an honor to have you on the show. And as we're wrapping up our conversation, I want to ask you the question that we always ask all of our interviewees here, and that is, what is one piece of advice that you would have given your younger self to boost your confidence?
That's a really good question. And I think the piece of advice that I would give myself is have confidence in your abilities and know that you can do hard things and know that you can fail and self-correct.
That's beautiful, especially going back to our conversation about failure and self-correction are actually proponents to success. So we are so grateful for your time and are just giving you huge congratulations from both me and all of our listeners from the Full Confidence Ahead podcast. Thank you for being such a big part of truly giving peace to this world by bringing education to our children. Thank you so much for being on here. Coming up on the Full Confidence Ahead podcast next week.
Saying the word suicide is important. Back years ago, if you said that word, people thought that that's going to make someone end their life. It does not.
Thanks for listening in on the Full Confidence Ahead podcast. Weekly on Tuesdays, we'll continue our journey of confidence together through new interviews and insights. Make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on the latest conversations and confidence boosts. And by the way, you got this, because you deserve to live life full confidence ahead. See you next week.